And a lot of the women who got into educational institutions as a result of the suffrage and women's movement of the 20s came to the fore in the 1960s. And I'll just mention one, for example, Rachel Carson, who got to go to Johns Hopkins and was trained as a geneticist and I think as a chemist. But she was also a very skillful and talented writer. And she earned her living in the Fish and Wildlife office of, I think, the Interior Department. But she had learned through a number of people, some of whom were in Massachusetts, about the effects of DDT on bird population. And she did that research and wrote and published Silent Spring, which is considered one of the most influential books of the 20th century. So I would say she was a product of that earlier generation. Betty Friedan came, she was born a little later. Jane Jacobs, who wrote Life and Death of American Cities, she was also a product of the education that women were finally able to get.
Didn't you say, by the way, that Betty Friedan, not that she copied from Simone De Beauvoir, but that Simone De Beauvoir had said earlier on what Betty Friedan later said. Do I have that right?
Simone De Beauvoir's Second Sex was not widely read in the United States until Betty Friedan's book. And the central thesis of her book is that social forms are constructed. In other words, all these patterns that we felt were just anchored in concrete about the way women should be, the way marriages should work, that women were supposed to stay in the home. Simone de Beauvoir said, this is ridiculous. These are constructed for social reasons. And that is the theme in Betty Friedan's book, The Feminine Mystique, but she's analyzing American society, and particularly the Freudian psychology that was so influential in the 50s.
This excerpt is brought to you by the Massachusetts School of Law, the leader of reform in legal education and a leader in multimedia education for the public. To view the full interview and for a full listing of MSL's programs, log on to mslaw.edu.